Good evening and welcome. John Connolly here, high atop center ice, Bloomington Ice Garden. I have a great guest with me today.
He was a top player for Minnetonka High in the late 80s as the program rose to prominence, drafted by the Quebec Nordiques. He was captain in the early years of St. Cloud State University as they transitioned to a Division I program. He scored 172 collegiate points. He went on to become head coach of Minnetonka High, where he now teaches. He has children in the program. Clay plays with the Portland Winterhawks today, but was a member of the varsity recently. And Reed is on the junior varsity for 2018-19. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me in welcoming Tim the Hammer Hannes.
All right. Tim, you are in
the question is, where did you get the hammer from?
That's what we called you in high school. So, Tim, I played against Tim when I was squirting Pee Wee. He's a better hockey player than I was. I couldn't make Edina's varsity, but Tim was an outstanding hockey player, and I'm going to tie it all together here. You must get excited when you walk into the building and see those Lakeville North jerseys. Drafted by the...
They look like the Quebec Nordiques, yeah.
It's got that logo, right?
There's no doubt. That was an exciting time in my life. My junior year, 1987, being drafted by the Quebec Nordiques. That's a kid's dream, right, is to play in the NHL. And that was kind of a step towards that opportunity.
So we've got an exciting game today. I've had an opportunity to get some thoughts from one of the coaches. I'm going to flip it over, play a little pregame thoughts from Sean Goldsworthy, and then we'll be right back with Tim Hannes and the rest of today's pregame show. I'm here with Coach Sean Goldsworthy. You've coached high school for 1 year, and it was a pretty good season.
Well, it's tough to repeat and do that over again, and I don't think it's necessarily healthy to try to do it exactly the same, but our end result is probably what we want to do. And but we're pretty fortunate on what happened last year, but we're already on to this year. We got new roles, new kids, new vibe in the locker room. That's what's really fun about high school hockey versus college or pro. You just get a higher turnover rate, and it's new kids and with a new opportunity.
So you're not a new coach. You coached St. Olaf for a long, long time, and you've certainly gone through this year to year where kids turn over. This is a team that on paper really seems to have it all. There's an experienced goaltender, great defense. You had some returning scoring, and then some players came in as newcomers. So are there questions about settling into roles, or what are the things that you're wondering about this group as you enter your first weekend of play?
Yeah, if you were going to build a team, you want to build it from the goal line out, and we feel Charlie's one of the better goaltenders in the state. And then on defense, we're very blessed to have Josh Lidke and Grant Doctor. But we're deep back there. We're deep on the blue line. We're gonna move the puck well, and we're gonna get up ice and gap up. And then at forward, we got a lot of new faces, but they're pretty skilled players. We're deep. We're deep up front. But the challenge right now is, after 4 days of practice, is to figure out how to put all the pieces together, and not knowing all the kids, and some of the kids haven't played together, ever. That's going to take a week or two, maybe even a month, to really get clicking on all cylinders.
Well, I appreciate all your time. Best of luck this weekend, and best of luck in the season ahead.
Thanks, John.
So, Tim, here we are. It's the opening of a new high school season, something you and I were just talking about. So, what does this time of year mean to you?
Well, this is a great time of the year. Probably one of the better times in these kids' lives to open up the season. I think they're really excited about this in terms of playing in front of their classmates, playing in front of their parents. They're excited about this night. I think the Skippers, are trying to defend their championship from last year. They've got a lot of good returners coming back. Coach Goldsworthy is right about talking about let's focus on this year, not about last year. And then you have a great team coming back here with St. Thomas Academy. They have a lot of good players coming back. They're going to be a tough opponent for the Skippers, and they're looking to get back to the state tournament. So definitely a great time of the year for both teams.
St. Thomas is an interesting team. I don't know that this makes sense. I don't know that I'm putting it into the right words, but they lost a lot, yet they return a lot, and they look really good on paper. You mentioned that they are hoping to get back to the state tournament. They won several Class A state championships. jumped up to Double-A. They've been consolation champs 3 times. And going into this year, they'd like to pick up some more important hardware, as they've yet to be either runner-up, third place, or champion. And this might be the group to do it if they can really progress throughout the season.
Well, I definitely think they can do that. It's a prestigious program. They're just trying to get over that hump right now from going A to Double-A and getting over that first game, that quarterfinal game. And I think this could be the year.
We're going to take a quick break. I think they may do another anthem. We've done one before every game so far today. John Conley here with Tim Hannes. We'll be right back with the puck drop after the anthem. One storyline worth mentioning here is that at the beginning of the season, 2 of the 4 teams in the opener have qualified for the state championship game in football. Lakeville North is probably playing as we speak. And in this one, St. Thomas is light a few players. That'll be in tomorrow's 5A championship game against Owatonna. Brennan McFadden, one of them. So what does that mean from a coach's standpoint, Tim, entering the season when you're kind of missing a few pieces and you know they're going to arrive shortly?
Well, they're definitely happy that it's at the beginning of the year, not mid-season or late season, but give some other players an opportunity. I know McFadden is a great player. He was a stud at Pee Wee level. He was about 6'2", 220 at Pee Wee's, and he was dominant. And he still is here, and he's doing that on the football field too.
He had 33 touchdowns entering the last game. I think he wound up with maybe 3 more. So I think he's about 36 and counting so far this season. So McFadden's been an absolute monster for the football team. He'll join the hockey team soon, but he's not available today. Certainly one of the storylines. Both teams are comfortable in goal. Glockner was the defending state champions goalie last year through their tournament run. Looking down to the other end, many people thought Atticus Kelly was the #1 goal in all the land, state of hockey, but he's moved on. Muzzy Donahue, a very capable senior, steps in, but he doesn't have a season of varsity under his belt, actually playing the games, as Atticus Kelly got most of the starts.
Well, I think Glockner's definitely ready for this game. He's got the experience, and we'll see how Donahue responds.
So I was furnished
What an exciting time.
Yep. I was furnished a line chart for Minnetonka, but never got one created for St. Thomas, so we'll build this one as we go. They start out with Hallam. He's just a sophomore, played varsity last year as a freshman on left wing. Center is Stucker. Right side is Wright. They went young. Wright is also another sophomore. On defense, it's 4 and 5. Shimmick and Bodette. Bodette is a newcomer to Minnesota high school hockey. His father, Dan, played for St. Thomas back in our era, and now he has come junior for his junior season, St. Thomas Academy. He played for the Colorado Rampage midget program the last few years. Puck is dropped, and we are off. John Conley here with Tim Hannes in a highly anticipated game. People have waited months for this one. St. Thomas begins by throwing at the length of the ice. It's an early icing call.
I think both teams right now are just trying to kind of get engaged in the game with maybe a big check, kind of a battle situation, get their body into it.
Stepping into the face-off circle is Mason Hendrickson. He's got Griffin Streeter and Mac Motzko. We'll talk about those two as we get going into this first period. Puck is broken out to the neutral zone, but standing up tall in the neutral is James Miller. He breaks up the play. It's dumped back in, and on the forecheck, Motzko's going to work, and he's headed in against Bamer.
Yeah, Motzko and Streeter both come to Minnetonka as new players. Streeter comes from Shattuck St. Mary's, and Motzko is coming from St. Cloud Cathedral. His dad is the coach there with the Gophers.
Did you see him here today?
I did not see him here today, but I did see his lovely wife.
I think he's got a game of his own, if I'm not mistaken. Michigan State is in town. They are down at Mariucci, and as a result, Coach Motzko missing his son's first high school game with Minnetonka. You mentioned Streeter, Tim. Oh, what an absolute cannon. Doctor let that laser go. Big save by Donahue. What a huge shot coming early in the game. But back to Motzko, Streeter. Streeter's new to the Minnetonka varsity, not new to the community, though. People know him quite well.
Oh, yeah, he played youth hockey through his years at Minnetonka. And so he just was down at Shattuck for a couple years and decided that this was a good fit for him to come back and play with his buddies at Minnetonka High School.
St. Thomas breaks it out of the zone. It's Bodette that triggered that one. He's a massive defender over here on the right side, but they were unable to keep it in, and Minnetonka's brought the puck the other direction. This is Teddy Lagerbach. Teddy is one of our guests that will be featured between periods. You can watch that. We have great between period content. Teddy will forever be known as the man who scored the most significant, no offense, Tim, most significant goal in school history. Who can forget it? 3 seconds to go against Holy Family. He wound up forcing overtime. They won the section, ended up being state champions. So Lagerbach returns for a big sophomore year. He had a great, or junior year, he had a great season as a sophomore last year.
Oh, it was definitely a big goal. 3.2 seconds left. That was definitely one of those times where he'll never forget, and nor will the city of Minnetonka and the community.
Shot comes from the point, but it goes wide. It was taken by Duke Kiffin. Duke is another sophomore on this team. It's working on the near wall here at Zitzloff, and eventually they get it down behind the end line. Nice breakout stretch pass onto the tape of Christie. Christie returns for a big senior year. He's the one that St. Thomas will look to if they can't find anyone else to score. He had 20 goals, 22 assists last year as a junior.
Yeah, and he's committed to Colorado College with his brother.
This one gets ticked down the length of the ice. Minnetonka is able to, St. Thomas is able to complete their line change, and it's a Tonka breakout. Tim, I think when we were younger, I always thought of the blue for St. Thomas being a little bit more leaning toward the Navy side. And I show up today, and I'm going to have trouble just going off of a first glance. They look to be wearing the same shade of blue,
like
or very near.
Squad scrimmage.
It does. Out to the neutral zone. They hit Griffin Streeter. Streeter buys some time and takes the shot. This one sails in just over the crossbar, and on the forecheck working in is Will Kroll. Big shot there from Streeter and saved by Donahue.
Yeah, right now Tonka is playing in their end. Probably just staying on top of the puck a little bit more, not so much getting a ton of pressure, but they're playing in their end a little more.
So, Tim, you know you're a really significant in whatever circles you travel when your name becomes a verb. And I have no life. I went to watch Edina Bantams play Minnetonka the other day, and the game before was Edina Pee-wees versus Minnetonka. And you know what? Edina got Lagerbach. They were up 2-1, and with less than 2 seconds remaining, Minnetonka tied it. And those in attendance, many of them said, wow, we got Lagerbach. So you know that you're definitely prominent in your field when your name becomes a verb. And anyway, Teddy Lagerbach, will be looking for him to have a big game today. 34, he's out there on right wing right now. He streaks out to the neutral zone. They get the pass over in his direction. He takes a survey of the situation, chooses to dump it in, and it's Bodette working behind his goal, and body's just bouncing off of him. Bayless has given up about 6 inches and probably about 40 pounds, and It's an easy breakout for St. Thomas. 12:54 remains, scoreless first period. By this time in the earlier game, we'd already seen Schneider put Lakeville North up 1-0. That was a great game. It was an overtime win for Lakeville North. They do win the battle. However, they have lost Griffin. We're not sure the severity of the injury. Griffin could be out 6 to 8 weeks if it's, there's a penalty upcoming. So Lakeville North wins but loses one of their key players. Slashing the call, first power play of the game. That'll change the momentum.
That was a nice little play by A.J. Kittleson there, who stole the puck and carried it in and took a nice low shot, tried to play it off the pad there. And the Tonka player couldn't quite get to the rebound, but we do have a penalty here. He was hooked there as he was trying to get the rebound.
Kittleson is another player, if I'm not mistaken, that has transferred in. I believe he played for Holy Family last year. There's another Kittleson that's a very, very good player for Burnsville, but this is a different one from Holy Family. So Minnetonka, while they lost quite a bit on forward with Brink and Lowhite moving on, they do return several and add in Motzko, Kittleson, and Streeter. So we'll get a chance to see them in their first action in blue today. Power play for Minnetonka. This is Litke. Litke takes it down behind the end line to Motzko. Motzko tries to get the pass out to the top, but it's tipped by Wingus, goes the length of the ice, and that'll run off a little bit more time. 88 seconds remaining in this power play for Minnetonka Skippers. Neutral zone is...
Yeah, St. Thomas Academy only had 3 players out there. And it looks like they got the 4th guy back out there.
Early season, you know, you got...
I think Tonka will take that, though.
You got 3 coaches on the bench, 4 coaches, 3 and a manager, and they can't figure out how to get the right number out there, exacerbating this penalty kill that they're on. Minnetonka is setting up their power play. They've used Doctor and Litke. Both senior captains are out on the blue line. Lagerbach, Bayless, and the 5th one is newcomer Motzko. This is going to be a very, very high-powered power play unit this year. They've still got 45 seconds with which to operate. Doctor buying some time along the blue line. Fans on the pass, and it's chipped out to, well, no, he fans as well. Second time's a charm, however, and that one's cleared out to the blue line by Wingus. Minnetonka with the zone entry. This is a streaking Doctor. Shot and a save by Donahue. Face-off comes to his right.
I thought St. Thomas there was doing a nice job of just kind of taking care of the middle of the ice, keeping Minnetonka to the outside during that power play. There was nothing coming through the box of St. Thomas. Nice job killing.
Face-off wins are so critical, penalty killing and power play. Nice one there for Minnetonka. They get the puck back. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 10 seconds.
Minnesota Wizard offer fall midget teams playing at the highest level for 15s, 16U, and 18U. For more information, please visit our website. The Minnesota.
It's another face-off win for Minnetonka. The one before it was one back to Streeter, who took a shot. This one was one back to 14 Minnetonka is Kroll. And Tim, one of the things is if you can win those face-offs when you're shorthanded on the power play, it extends the meaningful, power play time, or it can negate it. Minnetonka did a great job in the attacking zone, winning those draws, actually able to set some things up on the zone, and it's made it hard. Penalty finally expires, but Minnetonka has kept St. Thomas on their heels for the last couple minutes.
Well, it's very important to win those face-offs in every setting, whether it's 5-on-5 or odd or even situations, power play, penalty kill. Definitely makes it easier on your players if you're winning those draws. And the wingers need to come in and help out too. It's not just the center winning the draw. Sometimes they tie them up, and then the winger comes in and picks up a loose puck and gets possession of it back to their defenseman.
Faceoffs coming right in front of the Minnetonka bench. In the faceoff circle is Jet Swift. Jet is a player I've known since Mite. Jet moved up from Tampa a few years ago, and he comes with a big reputation as an outstanding player from the Sun Belt. But it's been a couple years on the Minnetonka program. Last year, junior varsity and Bantams. Before that, this is his first varsity action. I think this is his first shift of the game. Jet Lee Swift is in the middle, number 5 for Minnetonka Skippers.
You watch him skate, he's a beautiful skater. Nice and low, long stride, efficient.
One thing about the Sun Belt is you often receive outstanding coaching because of the number of past NHL players that stick in an area. They like the warmer weather. And he played on a Pee Wee team with Jim Campbell from St. Louis as his coach, and several years with Jim Carey, who won the Vezina Trophy. Jim was his coach several years in Florida. So even though he's a Sun Belt player, he's received a lot of high-level coaching. Shouldn't have a big adjustment getting to Minnesota high school level. The game gets to be a little bit tactical. He should have no problem with that adjusting.
And I think the NHL has had a lot to do with that, expanding to the Sun Belt, to the Southwest and California, and has opened and just basically created more talent playing hockey.
Yeah, it's a lot different. You know, you go back to your college team, and there might have been some players from outside of Minnesota. I think you probably played with Mike O'Hara, if I'm not mistaken, but not many. And today, it's not unusual to find a lot of players from the Sun Belt areas, and it's a little change. So we're halfway through the first period, still scoreless here if you just joined us. John Conley here with Tim Hannes, and Strong on the forecheck. Big shot here from Bayless, swallowed up by Donahue. Face-off comes to his right.
Yeah, that was Hunter Newhouse hunting down that puck there, putting a little pressure on the defenseman, and Jack Bayless coming in and anticipating that play, making a nice shot on net.
Newhouse getting the enviable task of skating on a line with Bayless and Lagerbach. What a great way for him to start out his varsity career. Would be, rebound opportunity here for Newhouse. You know, worth mentioning, Minnetonka is also down a player. There's a player, he's a very good player, not here today. If you hear me say Henry, it's Henry on St. Thomas. Minnetonka is without the services of Nick Henry. I understand he's feeling a little bit sick. Tim, he's an interesting story. We're going to have a feature between first and second period about the Upper Midwest High School Elite League. There's a couple ways into it. You can get invited straight in. You can go to a tryout and qualify. He didn't have either one on the radar. He was given a last-second invitational as an alternate. They said, show up at the tryout, and if somebody doesn't come out there, maybe you'll get a chance to skate. He wound up getting that opportunity to get in the game, wound up qualifying for an Elite League team with little varsity experience. So Henry's a good player, but he's not here today for Minnetonka as he's not feeling well.
Yeah, the word on the street is that he has mono, so he's trying to overcome that. Oh, nice goal there by the Skippers.
Boom goes the dynamite. I think that's Hendrickson with it. It's a goal early for Minnetonka. They lead 1-0. Hendrickson goes through first. This is Mason Hendrickson. He was on the varsity state champions last year, but didn't play much of a significant role as they had a lot more of senior and upperclassmen ahead of him. Great opportunity. One of the question marks for all of these teams is who's going to fill those gaps, provide the scoring or that defensive depth. And we get part of our answer right there. Mason Hendrickson puts Minnetonka up 1-0, and it's 7:43 remaining first period, so about 9 minutes, 17 seconds in.
Great to see Mason Hendricks come out here and get the first goal of the year. That'll give him some confidence. He's a player that likes to hunt the puck down. He also has really good vision on the ice and finds his players open in really good areas of the ice.
So this one's read off by our public address announcer, Robin Cook, as Motzko from Hendrickson. He reads it off, Motzko from Hendrickson. From our vantage point, I think, certainly, Tim, I thought it was Hendrickson that's going to be credited with that one ultimately. But nonetheless, those are some names, hockey royalty in the state of Minnesota, if you will.
Oh, yeah, you got Darby Hendrickson, Danny Hendrickson. Definitely have some hockey blood in him. So
that's Darby's son and his grandfather, Larry Hendrickson, very prominent, recently passed away. And Dan Hendrickson, the other brother, if you watch a lot of stuff on State of Hockey, is his uncle. So Mason Hendrickson and Mac Motzko connecting on that one has Minnetonka up 1-0. Breakout opportunity for St. Thomas. Williams gets out to the neutral zone, gains the red line, dumps this one down. It goes behind Glockner, and chance for Minnetonka to work their breakout. It's a pass from Litke, and sure enough, they're quickly out to the neutral zone. Here comes Bayless. Bayless down to the end wall. Works behind the end line down to Newhouse. So, Tim, what a great opportunity. If you're Hunter Newhouse, you know, coming off the Bantam team, hoping to make the varsity, and then you find out you get to play with a couple upperclassmen leaders, Bayless and Lagerbach, the two returning top scorers for Minnetonka.
Well, it's definitely a nice time when you walk into the locker room and your jersey, practice jersey, matches theirs. It's an exciting time. But what I like about Hunter, he can do a lot of little things well. He works hard, he competes, he'll get to the dirty areas. At the same time, he's got his head up and he can feed the Lagerbecks, the Baylesses, and just flows really well with the game.
Vega steps into the faceoff circle, but the draw is won by Minnetonka. Back to Streeter. Big shot and a nice save by Donahue. Gives us another faceoff to his right. Donahue's going to be featured between periods tomorrow. Donahue did a great interview for us down at Jack's Cafe. You can catch that one tomorrow. Today's St. Thomas player is Rob Christie. He'll be featured between periods 2 and 3. Pinching in at the blue line, here comes Doctor. Doctor brings this one down behind the end line over to Mason Hendrickson. Hendrickson back to the point to Litke. Pops out, well, I thought it popped out to the neutral zone. I guess not. Litke keeps this one in. Tim, this is an interesting defensive pair. I was telling someone, hey, this might be the best two defensemen in the state. And I wasn't talking about like paired up, like there might be the best pair out of all the teams in the state. These might actually be like 1 and 1A. These guys are in the running to be considered Minnesota's top defenseman, Reed Larson Award winners. That's got to be a nice luxury to have if you're Coach Goldsworthy.
You are correct. I think these two are going to be excellent players. They see the ice really well. They move really well up and down the ice. They close their gaps. They think the game really well.
O'Neill's pass to Hallam. Hallam brings it in, throws it out front, looking for Vega. Doesn't quite connect, but they do manage to gain some zone time. And it's been a while since we've been down on this end. Bodette with a shot, and this one was a crossbar and out, or?
I think Glockner got it.
Glockner got a piece of it. Nice shot there from our defenseman, newcomer to the state of Minnesota, McLean Bodette. Wicked wrister that was tracking toward that top corner, but it goes up deflected by the goaltender. We're still 1-0. Minnetonka leads.
Bodette has definitely shown that he can play at this level, coming from the Tier 1 Colorado Rampage. It's a good league there, the Tier 1, but he's definitely able to play at this level. He's got good size, good vision.
His father, Dan, nice opportunity for Lagerbach. His father played at Miami of Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's a Division I player, and I believe even, as good as some of the other teams were, St. Thomas might have had the best defenseman in the state back in our era. Team also had Brooks and Randy Scarta. Entering the zone is Lagerbach. Leaves a drop pass for Bayless. Bayless gets it over to Newhouse, and he gets the shot in the direction of the goal, and it's covered up by Donahue. Nice to hear this, Tim. It's our first student chant of the year. Opening night here, high school hockey in Minnesota.
I like to see them involved. I think they got to pick it up a little bit if that was their first one with 4 minutes left in the game. But it's always great to see the fans at the game, the students here cheering on their classmates.
Wingus in front of the benches, gains the red line, gains the blue line, takes it in wide, and works against the defender. That's Duke Kiffin. One of the things, and I guess I'll ask you this as a former coach, used to be the head coach of Minnetonka, if you have Litke and Doctor, they're both great players, do you entertain the idea maybe in the offseason of breaking them up and trying to get 2 elite pairs of D, or do you just roll them together and see how that works?
Well, that's a good question. I think right now they played together last year, so I think you start out that way this year and see how that goes. Their third and fourth group, or their third and fourth set of defensemen are excellent. So I think right now they could keep those 2 together and have the other 2 play together. So I think Kroll and Miller are going to be fine. They're returning players, and they'll do a really nice job. And so right now I think you keep Doctor and Litke together. And one of the things that's nice about that is if there is a penalty kill or a power play, they're both ready to go on the power play if they're on the bench waiting. So versus if they're separated, then one is tired and the other one is fresh.
It's a good point, Tim, and that's why you're here. So thanks for the insight. I guess, one of the things I'm wondering is, if we do see a line broken up at Edina, Malmquist led the Elite League in scoring, Jungles and Nevers return, or in this case, a pair of defense, Doctor and Litke, it probably has less to do with how those two are doing, and more to do with how the other kids are doing. And if they're playing well, and you can leave these guys together, you've got an elite pair that can probably cover half the minutes every game.
That's correct. A nice pass there by Newhouse.
And Newhouse to Lagerbach, but a great shot block on the other side by Henry as well. And that one never made it to our goaltender Donahue. Henry just got smoked there by that Lagerbach shot. Face off in the neutral zone, right in front of us. Bayless is out with Lagerbach, Newhouse. These guys are getting plenty of ice time, and it seems to be down to our left anytime they're on the ice. They've really generated a lot of possession time and zone time thus far.
I think Donahue's been in a ready position most of this period.
So with that as a thought, Tim, what does St. Thomas need to do to get some things on track? They've got some very, very good players. Ryan O'Neill had an outstanding season in the Elite League. Christie had a great high school league last year. What is it that they're going to need to do to try to level out the play a little bit? It's only 1-0 on the clock, and if they were to maybe get a power play, they could tie this up. But in order to stay in this game through 3 periods, what would you be looking at as an adjustment from a coach's standpoint?
Well, one thing we were talking about earlier was faceoffs. Tonka's won almost every faceoff, so they're gaining possession of the puck. So it starts right there. St. Thomas has to do a better job of that so they get the puck and they can start playing as a team and moving the puck up ice into the zone. And sometimes you just got to get it deep into the zone or get a 2-on-1 like that.
Great opportunity there for O'Neill. He came in on the 2-on-1, cut across to his forehand, had a pretty good chance, and it was denied by Glockner. Glockner's a pretty tall kid, and he fills a lot of that net, so it's not going to be easy to slide anything by him. But that was the best scoring chance of the game for St. Thomas, and it seems to give him a little momentum. This is a stretch pass up to Vega, and all of a sudden there's new life for the Cadets.
They seem to be playing a little faster here with about a minute left in the period.
Henry to O'Neill. O'Neill's got to be getting tired, though. It's been a long shift for him, and he's been very active. Entering the zone is Doctor. Shot gets knocked down. Lagerbach comes in, tries to pick up the loose change. 1 minute to go in the period, and here's a breakout opportunity for Doctor, and gets it across the red line, dumps it in, and behind the goal line now, it's a puck rung out to neutral by Charlie Glockner. Going the other way, it's Bayless, gains the red, gains the blue, cuts to his backhand. Nice short pass down to Newhouse. Newhouse, oh, he had Lagerbach, and that would have been a beauty. Just barely went past his stick. Still 1-0, 30 seconds to go in this period.
That was a great center drive there by the Skippers. Bayless drove wide, delayed a little bit, let the center kind of catch up to the play, drive between the defensemen to the net. And he put a little area pass behind the defenseman. And then Newhouse was looking for the backdoor play to Lagerbach on the far side there.
My ears are ringing. That was a crossbar hit by James Miller right at the end of the shift, and it ticked up into the netting. Good chance down low, and boom, it's into the back of the net. Braden Lacombe took that pass from Kittleson. Lacombe from Kittleson, and it is now Minnetonka up 2-0.
That was a nice play there. Kittleson got the puck in the corner, got his head up, and he found Lacombe out in front, who one-timed it, looked like through the 5-hole.
Right through the 5-hole. Donahue was in a good position there, but he couldn't quite close that space between his skates. And Minnetonka, they've had the better of the gameplay thus far. I think that's safe to say. Minnetonka now leads 2-0.
One of the things here with that goal with about 20 seconds left is a big goal for the Skippers. It's a confidence builder because they were taking control of the game. If they come out of the period only up 1-0, it's almost like they lost the period. But here they get that second goal, create a little separation, and I think St. Thomas is a little more down coming out of that period. After the second goal, you can see their heads are down.
You even see that,
a little more, versus if it would have been 1-0 at the end. It's almost like, okay, we got away with one, which happens in the game of hockey. But here, they were unable to escape. With a 1-0 lead, it's 2-0 Tonka.
It's a great point, Tim. We're going to be back in 15 minutes. You guys get a chance to hear more about the Upper Midwest High School Elite League.
Advertising with Eden Hall Productions is an inexpensive way to reach thousands. For more information, John at EdenHallCo.com.
Hello there, I'm John Connolly with Eden Hall Academy. I am the headmaster. I'm also the tournament director for the Memorial Day Challenge, which last year was the largest youth hockey event across the entire Sun Belt in the off season. We had about 72 teams and about 1,000 families that came to the Tampa Bay area for a great weekend of vacation and hockey. For years, I've fielded my own Eden Hall Academy teams. Players have gone on to become NHL draft picks like Akil Thomas and several NCAA commitments at schools like Dartmouth, Notre Dame, Northeastern, Michigan State, and others. It's a great opportunity. I'd like to personally invite you to bring your family and be a part of this upcoming season. We've got a great coach that's already on board. We'll practice a couple times to get ready in Minnesota and then have a nice, great vacation with very good hockey. There's more NHL teams in Florida than there are in the state of hockey, believe it or not. And as a result, the youth hockey is very good. And also a wonderful vacation opportunity. Gulf beaches, my favorite small town in all of America, Tarpon Springs, and you can go enjoy that year-round 72-degree cool water and cool off in the nice hot Florida weather at Weeki Wachee Springs or do a glass-bottom boat ride. Lots of several fun things you can do. It's a great weekend, and for more information, just send me an email. You want to get in touch to be included in any updates as we go through the planning stages, and check out my website, EdenHallCo.com. Just click on Academy. Email address is john at EdenHallCo.com. Love to have you be a part of 2019. This is John Connolly. I'm here with Mark Mackesy. Mark, thanks for joining me.
John, great to be here.
So we're at St. Thomas Academy on campus at the school ice rink. We've got the University of St. Thomas practicing behind us, and it's a homecoming of sorts. So a little bit about you. You graduated from St. Thomas Academy in what year?
1986.
1986, and I remember that 1986 team pretty well. Probably had the best defensive core in the state. Mark Mackesy, Dan Bodette, Dan Brooks and Randy Scarda.
You're nice, yeah.
All patrolling the blue line.
All patrolling the blue line. We did our best. Randy Scarda went on to play in the NHL. Dan Brooks had a great career at Denver, and Dan Bodette had a great career at Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, so you've got a group of guys now. A generation later, you're still involved after playing at the University of St. Thomas. I see your name on some of the plaques we have here for your time when you played college hockey here. And today you're coaching. You're involved in the coaching staff of St. Thomas.
Yeah, no, it's great to be back and great to be involved with the program. We've got a great group of kids. We've got a great tradition. Great student athletes. Our team GPA last year was 3.6. Real proud of that and real proud of the accomplishments on and off the ice.
Yeah, you always want your team GPA higher than the goalie's GAA.
Correct.
So anyway, that's a little bit about your St. Thomas connection. We're watching a St. Thomas game right now, but let's talk about what else you're doing. So you're a board member for the Upper Midwest High School Elite League, and let's talk about that. So some people might have a little familiarity. We'll go deeper for them, and other people may not be aware of its existence. So when was the Elite League started, and what is it?
So it was started in 2002. And it's, I would describe it, it's a collection of the best 16, 17, and 18-year-old hockey players in the country. They play during the fall, starting in September. They play 25 games that really kind of takes them up to the high school season. And it's really, John, it's a best-on-best format. The idea behind this is to bring the best high school hockey players from the state of Minnesota, from Wisconsin. There's a team Wisconsin. There are some kids from North Dakota that also participate, and Shattuck.
Yeah, so it's such a different model compared to what the rest of the country is doing or what they're doing in Canada. You hear stories about kids moving away at young ages. Age 15 is pretty common in Canada to go pursue midget and then junior hockey, living with host families. And throughout much of the United States, it's really the same thing. So here's an opportunity for kids in Minnesota to take advantage of the fact that they're from Minnesota, where you have such a high concentration of strong players. And I'll even make the argument that this is a superior option to a lot of the other levels of play that people might be familiar with on a national level. So I'll mention the NTDP, the North American Hockey League, 18U, Major Midget, it's often called. And here's a chance for kids to get the equivalent experience of maybe playing in the USHL, Tier 1 junior hockey in the United States. So let's talk a little bit about how that works. So you mentioned Shattuck St. Mary's. Another team that's come every year is the national team. USA Hockey's national program comes from Michigan. So what is they're coming for, and why have they continued to re-up and come year after year to play against teams from your league?
Yeah, I mean, they come up here, you know, the NTDP, they're going to play great competition, and they'll play in the USHL, and they'll come up here, and the competition in the Elite League, in many respects, is it's close to on par with the USHL. We had 2 games against them this year. They came up, and they were successful in both games against the Elite League, but they were 1-goal games. They were games that could have gone either way. So that's just a snapshot of the talent and the skill level that's in this league that's produced in the state of Minnesota.
2 great games this year. We announced those. Thanks for your help with those. And last year, probably the strongest, I believe, NTDP national team development program we've seen with the 2001 birth year. One of them was a regulation tie, went to overtime. The year before, I think that was the year that the Elite League won both of those games. So, you know, recent history, these are very, very competitive games. And we're talking about kids in Minnesota getting an opportunity, if they're good enough, to play at that level without the sacrifices. So let's talk about what sacrifices they're not making. So what are these kids able to do on their normal week if they stay at home? Tell me what some of the kids this year did during the fall season when they weren't on the ice.
Well, it's fine. We've got guys. It's a league that's friendly to the multi-sport athlete. And there was a young guy, Brendan McFadden, who actually plays for St. Thomas Academy. He played in the Elite League, and he also starred on the football team, and 35 touchdowns this year.
And counting.
He's not done yet. And so, you know, he's just one of the many success stories of the last 16 years of the league where a guy is a multi-sport athlete. And also, the league is also friendly. Kids get the opportunity to stay home, go to school, bond with their buddies, especially their senior year, go to homecoming, prepare for the ACT, the SAT, and really be a student athlete all in one place.
You mentioned McFadden. That's one example. Other kids also play Friday Night Lights, playing some high school football and playing other sports like soccer or running cross country. And then we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want you to talk about what their weekend's like and who's in the building when they go to these hockey games.
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America, so it's only that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
And we're back. John Conley here with Mark Mackesy. We're talking about the Upper Midwest High School Elite League. Mark is a board member for the league and very involved in its operations as they get together on weekends. So the league's anchored out of New Hope Ice Arena. There's some travel. They might play some games away at Shattuck or northern Minnesota or maybe even Wisconsin. But Mark, describe what it's like when you get into the building as the league kicks up in the fall. Who's there?
Yeah, I mean, it's filled with scouts. It's filled with every NHL team is going to scout the Elite League. Most major Division I schools are going to scout the Elite League. The USHL is going to scout it heavily. The North American Hockey League is going to scout it. The BCHL is going to scout it. Pretty much every junior league that's out there that brings in players post-high school, they're going to be out scouting the league. Again, along with the NHL, colleges, it's really a who's who.
Yeah, it's no lie to say every NHL team is watching the players in this league. In a typical weekend, teams gather at New Hope. Each team will play 3 games, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And when you look at the 8 teams on a normal weekend, what is that? Something like 12 games. Yeah. So they have such a great concentration with hundreds of recruitable athletes for the college teams, and dozens of draftable athletes for the NHL team, and it's just a great opportunity. It's kind of a fun weekend to be up there, and it's not unusual that there's as many people scouting as there are just generally interested fans watching the games.
Yeah, these NHL teams and colleges, they've got a big stake in this game, and this league over the years has just continued to get better and better, and the interest has really grown.
So who's played in this league? You mentioned to me earlier that Zach Parisi was part of those first Shattuck teams to play, and Shattuck's always an entrant, so that includes players like Sidney Crosby or Eric. This year, Brisson was just outstanding in the league, and Lacombe, I think, is a preseason national high school All-American last year. Selenoff was the same. So you've got the Shattuck team is entered, so you're playing against the top players. Which other kids from Minnesota have played in this league over time?
Jake Gensel, and recently, and Stanley Cup winner and Sidney Crosby's line mate, Ryan McDonough, former captain of the Rangers, and just a great player, a guy that was a multi-sport athlete, stayed 4 years.
So I want to mention someone else. We talk about those big names like you just mentioned, and they are big names. If you're in a fantasy hockey league for the NHL playoffs, Jake Gensel rode me to victory 2 years ago, and I was right in the mix this past season. He's a playoff demon. But to speak to the depth of the league, we've got a banner hanging up over our shoulder here. Odin Tufto from St. Thomas Academy played in the league and was, for lack of a better term, maybe fit in, an average player in the league. And he's gone to be not just a successful player, but a superstar at Quinnipiac University. So there's a lot of stories as well when you get past the biggest names about benefits to all of the kids that get an opportunity to play in this league.
Yeah, well, I think you look at, John, if you look at the college teams in Minnesota right now and the success that St. Cloud's having, and Minnesota State, Minnesota, the core group of those teams are kids from Minnesota, and the core group play in the Elite League. And so you're talking about, I think, maybe 3 of the top teams in the country, ranked 1, 2, 3 at UMD, St. Cloud, Minnesota State. Core group of guys are a lot of Minnesotans and a lot of guys that played in this league.
Yeah, so that's a real testament to the strength of your league. Let's just wrap it up.
All right, I guess we're going to miss the end of that Mark Mackesy interview again. Just like the first game, it seems the period breaks a tiny bit shorter than anticipated. Tim, I have an update. Whoa, big shot there, and Donahue goes for the cover, and a quick whistle saves them, but I don't know that he ever had full control over it. Let's give a little update on number 18's dad. Minnesota 5, Michigan State 2. That's a good start. Big Ten game here for Minnesota. It's still middle of the second period, but they've been scoring early and often against Michigan State.
So the Gophers and then Mac Motzko have 6 goals tonight.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I talked to the scorers table. They said, yeah, the referees gave it to Motzko, so I guess it was Motzko and not Hendrickson, but it was a little bit of traffic down by the goal. So Minnetonka leads 2-0 in case you've just joined us. St. Thomas has been really on their heels, and as you pointed out at the end of the first period, that late goal from St. Thomas, or from Minnetonka, to make it 2-0 really changed the locker room tone. They feel like they should be up 2-0 based on the gameplay, and going to the locker room 1-0 might have been like kissing your sister.
Yeah, it definitely was a big goal for the Skippers to give them even more momentum going into the second period. Now they just got to keep putting the pedal down. St. Thomas has to respond here coming out in the second period.
He's Tim Hannes. I'm John Conley. We get a penalty call. This might be just what the doctor ordered for the Vanellis on the St. Thomas bench. Slashing the call gives the St. Thomas Cadets in white a power play out for the penalty kill. It's Litke, Doctor, Newhouse, and Bayless.
I was down there talking with Tommy Vanelli, who played at Minnetonka, went on and played at the Medicine Hat Tigers, and then also Jimmy Schultz, former Minnetonka player, who more than likely will be up for the Hobie Baker.
Wow.
And is at St. Cloud State, stud defenseman there.
Face-off is won by St. Thomas, and we had talked about this earlier, how important it is to win those face-offs. They lose possession, however, after the puck bounces over to Bayless. He throws it the length of the ice, and that'll run off about 15 or 20 seconds. Bringing it up is Bamer. Bamer gains the blue line, chips it down, and we get a whistle offside, neutral zone face-off. So you got an opportunity to speak with Schultz at the intermission, and Vanelli. I ran into Dan Bodette. Dan Bodette, graduate, I believe, 1986 from St. Thomas. And we mentioned in the first period they've moved here. So McLean Bodette is a newcomer to St. Thomas varsity. He's a junior wearing number 5 and probably the largest player in this game from what I could tell. He looks to be about 6'3" or taller. 95 seconds to go in this power play for St. Thomas. And if they're going to make this one interesting, they'd like an opportunity like this to get a power play goal and cut into this 2-0 deficit. Kept in at the blue line very nicely there momentarily from O'Neill, but not for long. Scoring chance shorthanded, and stood up as Mason Hendrickson. Hendrickson denied there by Donahue, and what a huge save that was.
That was a big save by Donahue to keep it at 2-0.
You know, you see this very common today to put forwards back on the blue line on defense, and O'Neill got the puck back on the blue line but didn't have a lot of opportunity to make a play. There was a blue jersey right on him, and he made a little evasive move, but a little active stick knocked it out to the neutral zone, and boom, it's a breakaway opportunity for Hendrickson. So we'll have to watch for that. Are they going to be able to shore things up on the blue line when they get power play chances? You don't want to give up a shorty, that's for sure, when you're trailing 2-0.
That's definitely unlike O'Neill, who played in the Elite League. He has a good sense of the game and awareness. Is one of those players, he's always thinking ahead. In that situation, he before he got the puck, he didn't really know what to do with it, which again is kind of unlike him, uncharacteristic, and gave Hendrickson that breakaway.
Kroll throws it the length of the ice, and that should kill the rest of the penalty. He does it again. This one hits a girder up above, and we get a stoppage of play. Just 5 seconds remains in this St. Thomas power play. 5 seconds remaining before Minnetonka is full strength.
I thought the building was going to come down there. This is definitely an old building.
We had a light that came down, I believe it was the JV game, because I don't think we were announcing at the time, but the game before this that preceded this was a JV. I think it was a 5-0 win for Minnetonka, and there was one of those long tube lights came down when a puck went up into the rafters. Minnetonka is full strength, and it's Stucker that enters the zone. Oh, trying a centering pass in the direction of Keelan, doesn't quite connect. I'm sorry, I think I said Stucker. It's Wright, Dayak, and Keelan out there together. The 16 looked like a 10 to me. Bayless dumps this one down behind the end line. It's a breakout opportunity for Shimmick. They bring it out in front of us and out to neutral. It's gathered up by Kiffin. D to D over to Zitzloff, and now a nice pass that wound up onto the stick of Bayless. Lagerbach back to Kiffin. Over far side in front of the bench is Zitzloff, runs into some traffic, and Minnetonka seems to be controlling the puck but can't quite cross the red line, Tim.
Well, I think there's a nice forecheck going on in the neutral zone there. They're doing a little 1-2-2, kind of trying to trap them in the neutral zone before they get to the red line. The third set of defensemen were out there with Kiffin and Zitzloff. They did a nice job possessing the puck, just couldn't advance it into the zone.
Steal here from Shimmick. Shimmick enters and tries a whistling wrister that hits the boot of Eldridge. And for the first time in a while, we're saying a few more of the St. Thomas names. We didn't really get through their whole roster the first period as they didn't have a lot of possession time. Ooh, and right when Bodette went to release that pass, he fanned on it and had one of the Minnetonka players turn the other direction. Might have been able to spring behind him for a breakaway. 2-0 the score. Minnetonka breaks it up through the neutral zone. Here comes Kittleson. Kittleson works in wide, fights around the defender. No call, but Wingus manages to ride him off the puck. Nice play here from O'Neill, and O'Neill's got a head of steam flying through the neutral zone. Gets the puck over to Christie, and Christie's shot goes wide, kept in right side.
A little more back and forth in this game here to start the second period. Up and down, both teams getting opportunities.
Good pace to this one. We're 5 minutes into the second period, and St. Thomas seems to be playing better in this period than they did in the first. Miller enters the zone. His shot goes wide. And
I think that's what we were looking for in the first period, a little more up and down, a faster pace, more north.
You know, I make no bones about it. They say you're not supposed to root for anyone when you're announcing. I always am pulling for the team that's behind. I like seeing good games. We had a great game that went to overtime earlier today. And 2-1 right now. Here's a chance for Hallam. Hallam on the breakaway, and oh, it flubs off his stick. He couldn't quite get the shot off. Glockner did a great job of squaring up to him, and that led Hallam to try one last move, and over on the backhand, he couldn't quite get the shot off. He gets another chance, however, and boy, he's flying around out there. A lot of speed being shown by players like Hallam and O'Neill, and you can see, I think there's a sense of urgency for the Cadets.
The Cadets have definitely come out here and playing, I think, their A game right now. They're playing physical. They're moving the puck and playing as a team, but for the most part, they're battling. They're competing right now.
Pass from Doctor over to Kroll. No, it's Kroll out there. Doctor goes off for the line change. And it's that second period where you defend the goal a little further from your bench. This is another opportunity where, you know, we're looking for things that might lead to some scoring chances for St. Thomas. If they can maybe, with this frenetic pace, maybe catch Minnetonka on a line change, maybe another opportunity, another way they could get an odd man rush.
In the second period, you just got to be really smart about your decisions with the puck, making sure the puck gets deep into the zone, so the other team has to go 200 feet. Your shifts have to be shorter, so sometimes the coach might change after 30 seconds, after a whistle, 30 seconds into a shift. And players, they don't understand that maybe. They think they're getting short shifted, but there's a reason for it, and that is to keep players fresh.
And that becomes a bigger issue as you get later into the game. One of the things we saw in our first game, 2-2 late, both teams, especially with some timeouts called, both teams used theirs. Both teams went the lion's share of the last 5 minutes with just their top line. Very seldom do you see those lines not out there. And if you want to have them available for those extra shifts at the end of the game, you can't burn them out in the middle of the second period.
That's true. I agree with that. And that's managing the bench right there with your and then experienced coaches here with the Vanellis and Goldsworthy. They do a nice job of managing their bench.
Keelan off the skate of Soderling. 2-1's your score. Soderling has it bank in off of his skate on an assist. Bjorn Keelan to Soderling makes this one 2-1.
That was a nice play by the Cadets there as he drove wide and then centered the pass to Soderling, who deflected it in off his foot. And that's one of those things now, is that a kicking motion or is that a redirection? It definitely did open up his foot to the puck, whether he kicked it or not. That was a decision the refs had to make, and it looked like it was directed in versus kicked in.
Did Keelan call bank, though?
You know, if he did, he's definitely should be going to the casino tonight.
Soderling, let's listen for the assist. No second assist. It's Soderling from Keelan, makes it 2-1, and all of a sudden it's 1-0 this period for St. Thomas, and things are going according to plan. If you think about that discussion they would have had at the intermission.
Well, I'm sure the Vanellis had a nice talk with them probably very calm. No, I'm just kidding. They probably were very firm about their expectations coming into the second period. They know their players. They know they can play better, so they're going to push them to play at that high level.
Mason Hendrickson steps into the face-off circle, looks across at O'Neill, wins the draw, and boy, you could see them try to snake it through to Streeter, and right when he went to get the shot off, it looked like a defender tipped that one away. Kept in at the blue line very nicely by Litke. Working the other way, this is O'Neill. O'Neill loses his feet and loses the puck, and Hendrickson gets it up. This is Motzko. Motzko cuts to his forehand, tries to release the shot, couldn't quite get that one off, and working up in the other direction, they tried to spring Christie on a breakaway. Came in just a little bit behind him. He goes off for the line change. Out to the neutral zone. It's Wright that gets there first, plays it back to the point. This is Killian. Killian gains the red line, throws this one down into the corner, and he's content to establish the cadet forecheck.
One thing that was interesting about that play there with Christie, he was the 5th player back checking there, so to speak. There was 2 defensemen playing the rush. Then he had his other 2 forwards going back hard. And he read the play, that all those players are there to help out. And he could just kind of hang out back by the far blue line, look for that breakaway, and it almost worked out. It was a very smart play by Christie there.
Clayton Phillips from Ben Brinkman makes it 6-2, and I know nothing makes you more excited than hearing that Edina guys hooking up for the Minnesota Gophers, right? Oh, that's right. You're a Minnetonka guy that went to St. Cloud.
Yeah, I think I'm speechless.
I got you, didn't I?
I'm speechless, yeah.
I got you. Well, one of the things you won't be speechless about, I tend to do this when I announce a high school game. Latter part of the second period, I'll talk about some of the people, famous graduates of the 2 schools that you're seeing today. I've got some doozies, people that have attended St. Thomas Academy, and some interesting ones from Minnetonka as well. So we'll get to that a little bit later into the period. And our between period guests for period 2 to 3 got some good ones. Josh Litke, interviewed by Grant Doctor, followed by Rob Christie, interviewed by Thomas Odegaard. Chance to tie, and that pass doesn't quite connect. He was trying to get this one out to right. And then Teddy Lagerbach, interviewed by Grant Doctor. So 3 great player profiles. You won't want to miss those. They're between the second and third period. Backhand chance and a rebound. Nice backhand came in from Henry, and it was left there on the doorstep for Wright. Really impressed by what I've seen from Wright. He's just a sophomore, and I don't know that he played varsity last year, but he's having a great game so far for the Cadets.
He looks really good out there, and he's playing really well with Hollum here and Soderling. Hollum is really asserting himself. He is a great skater.
Nice play there by Lagerbach to exit the zone, makes a neutral zone pass to Bayless, but once they gained the blue line, the next pass didn't connect and gave St. Thomas a chance to throw it the length of the ice. A little bit too far for Eldridge. We get a stoppage of play, icing the call. All right, so Tim, you ready? So these are people who attended and graduated from some of these schools. So I'll start with one that it might have been around your era. He was assistant and had a large part of the administration of Mayor Bloomberg. Minnetonka graduate Eric Weirson. Does that name ring a bell? Eric Weirson?
Oh, that's a good, I'm not familiar with that
All
name.
right, Eric Weirson. I try to stay away from athletes when we do this, so I'll give you a few more as we get going with the balance of this period. This is a Minnetonka forecheck opportunity. They throw it behind the goal. Nobody's home, however, and now we're working a breakout the other direction. Keelan gets this one up ahead to Soderling. Soderling with a shot and goes in and hits Glockner's pad. Cleared out very nicely by Zitzloff to the far side, right in front of the benches. It's now a retreat opportunity. Here comes Wingus. Wingus, his pass does not exit the zone. Kept in nicely by a forechecking Liam Worms. First time I've called his name today. Worms out there with Kittleson and Lacombe. Kittleson and Lacombe connected on one of the goals to make it 2-0 right at the end of the first period. Shot there came from the point from Kiffin, and pinching out there, Keelan got a stick on it. It tipped up into the netting. So here's an interesting one. When you go to a school like St. Thomas, it's been around 100 years or so. You get some people going way, way back. Tommy Gibbons was the sheriff of Ramsey County, the area around St. Paul. But that's not all he did. when he was younger, before he was the sheriff, he actually fought Jack Dempsey for the heavyweight championship of the world. So how about that one? That's pretty good. Tommy Gibbons, sheriff of Ramsey County, fought Jack Dempsey for the heavyweight championship of the world. St. Thomas graduate.
Definitely don't want to get a speeding ticket there.
No kidding. We've got some good ones coming up. Anyway, that's just scratching the surface here with these two schools. On the forecheck, this is a very nice pressure here from Streeter. Streeter's been pretty impressive so far in his Minnetonka Skipper varsity debut.
He looks good, really strong, confident, and is playing really well with Hendrickson and Motzko.
Killian for St. Thomas throws it out in front of the benches, but losing his stick as it arrived was Vega, and now it's pinned back into the St. Thomas end. Minnetonka strong on the forecheck. Hendrickson down behind the goal and plays this one out toward the blue line. It's tipped, and Litke's on retreat, makes a very nice play and gathers possession and puts it right onto the stick of Motzko in front of the Minnetonka bench. They complete their line change. Oh, nice interception. Jet Lee Swift did a great job keeping that puck in. Got the puck over to his line mate, Joe Simpson, and we're getting pretty far down onto the depth chart. They haven't played as much as the other lines. Very impressive depth here for Minnetonka to be able to go to Simpson and Swift, and I think Wires is out there as well, and get this type of pressure.
I think it helps with the morale on the team, getting everybody involved in the game. And you can also, as a coach, especially early in the year, you get to see what they bring to the table with their game. And you know, where can they help the team? Maybe is it special teams? Is it a third line role? What do they bring to help the team be successful? It looks like they're doing a really nice job here.
Simpson down into the corner, plays it out in the direction of Swift, and we get the net knocked off its mooring. So, Tim, back to our era. If you look at Minnetonka, they're awfully deep on the depth chart. You could be pretty good last year in the Minnetonka system. They were state champs and just play on JV, not get a chance to play varsity. Do you remember who was the Metro Player of the Year when I graduated in 1986? It was Scott Bloom, and he shared it with somebody.
Ooh, that's a good question. I definitely know Scott Bloom.
10th grade
he was a heck of a player.
10th
at the for Burnsville there.
10th grade didn't make varsity. 11th grade didn't make 10th grade didn't make JV. 11th grade didn't make varsity. Started the year on the junior varsity. Gets called up for 5 games at the end. 12th grade senior year for Edina. Jim Carroll, co-Metro Player of the Year. It's just kind of I share that as an example of what can happen where you're in a program that just simply doesn't need players. You're super deep. We saw Simpson and Swift. I'm assuming they were JV players last year for Minnetonka. They had a great junior varsity. Put them out in a game like this, and boom, they have scoring chances and pressure throughout the entire shift. Real testament to the depth of Minnetonka skippers early in the season.
Yeah, Jimmy Carroll there was, I think he calls me the Hammer.
We all called you the Hammer.
I don't know why, but Jimmy Carroll, like you're saying, doesn't play varsity till late his junior year, has a great senior year. Same thing here with this fourth line here for Tonka. Sometimes you just got to be patient and keep working, and I think parents and players.
Bayless, weak side, goalie couldn't get over, 3-1. Bayless is a goal scorer, and he shows you an example of it right there.
That was a great one-timer by Jack Bayless, and a nice saucer pass there. I think that was Grant Doctor with the saucer pass across.
He scored in that, what I would call like the Stamkos spot or the Ovechkin spot, one-timing it in, and the goalie just couldn't get over. Donahue was coming, but arrives a little bit late, and part of that net was empty. Beautiful goal there. Minnetonka now leads 3-1.
And what you're trying to do there is take that pass away. That's the last pass that you want to give up. Keep it to the outside, and they were able to pass it through the box with a nice saucer pass there. And he kind of hit the ice one time, and then he one-timed at the same time. So nice play there by Jack Bayless, and he kind of leaned forward onto that front foot, and his back leg was on the ice for the one-timer.
We're going to take a quick listen here to hear a public address announcer, Robin Cook, make sure we get the assist right on the Bayless goal. And, what a game changer there. Minnetonka enters the intermission 2-0 ahead. St. Thomas played very, very well, cuts it to 2-1, but now it's at 3-1 again. They're still down 2. All right, come on, Robin. We're waiting for you. I think he's waiting for the puck to be dropped. Minnetonka's going to go for a defensive pairing change. They bring out Krull and Miller. Face-offs won by St. Thomas, and it's onto the stick of Soderling. He was the goal scorer earlier.
Minnetonka goal scored by number 29, Jack Bailey. Assisted by number 3, Josh Lutke. And number 2, Grant Doctor.
So it's Litke and Doctor credited with their assist. You were correct about the saucer pass coming from Litke. Bayless from Litke and Doctor. Lagerbach tries to get around the defender and gets a shot off as he gets knocked down. We have a gentleman behind the glass calling for the penalty, but the two referees didn't agree. 3:56 remaining in this second period. Out to the neutral zone. Here comes Soderling. Soderling gains the red line, dumps it down, and he goes off for the line change, but not before he gets dumped by a body check from one of the skipper players.
So back to the Jimmy Carroll story, in that whole topic of just being patient as a player and a family. Your time will come in these bigger programs. You keep working hard, you keep pushing yourself. In some ways, they're going to battle through adversity and be stronger because of it. And that's what you saw Jimmy Carroll. He just kept working hard, kept getting better, knew his time would come, and had a great senior year. I think he went on to Michigan Tech and played there.
Kittleson snaking through the defenders and got a nice shot off, entered and challenged them 1-on-2. So same era. Sometimes you could wait your turn and never get it, and then you might want to force the issue. Lefty Dinah never could make the varsity there. Shows up at Minnetonka, drafted by an NHL team. Who was that?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Dave Jecka.
Oh, Dave Jecka. There you go.
So 3:07 remains. Let's get back to some of those graduates. Minnetonka graduate Eric Bischoff from professional wrestling fame. Eric Bischoff went to Minnetonka. So we have Eric Weirson and Eric Bischoff from Minnetonka. Next face-off, I'll throw out another one from St. Thomas. Out to the neutral zone. Thrown right back in by a pinching Grant Doctor. Stolen, and we're going the other direction. And right as he went to make that pass, nice back check there from Braden Lacombe. Stick check, won the puck, and really stopped that St. Thomas momentum. Good hustle, good two-way play from Lacombe. He's got the goal earlier to put them up 2-1, and now he's or 2-0, and now he's making good plays defensively.
Well, one thing that is lost in teaching is poke checking, stick checking, and in this case where he lifts the stick up underneath it, sometimes you're seeing these players come on top of it and they're breaking the stick, and then they get a slashing call.
You come from the top, it's really asking for that slash.
Yeah,
so
you're asking the ref to make a decision here, and you don't want to put that ref in that predicament.
So another graduate from St. Thomas, always one that I use every time I announce their games. Jim Lang, who was the host of the dating game. I think he's since passed on, but Jim Lang, St. Thomas graduate. And if you're up for it, maybe the third period we give all of these St. Thomas players, when we're calling the game, a dating game nickname like Rugged Ryan O'Neill and whatever we can do. So I tried that last year. I was doing color for one of their games when they played Eden Prairie, and the guy doing play-by-play, he just kind of wasn't on board, so it never kind of fizzled. But I thought it was a neat idea. Breakout opportunity here for Griffin. Streeter gains the blue line, takes a shot, and this one steered aside by Donahue.
That sounds like my classroom. I'm always giving kids nicknames, like O-Dog or Schmidt Dog, or I always seem to use dog a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one, Tim Dog. 2 minutes to go in the second period. 3-1's the score. D-to-D pass over to Will Krull. Krull down low. This one hits Motzko. He centers it through the slot area. Nobody there to tip it in. Breaking out is Hallam. Hallam gains the red line, dumps this one down. Glockner was going to play the puck, but it bounces up over his stick, and it's a breakout opportunity for Krull. Krull ridden off the puck. Now it's back for Bodette. Chips this one out to neutral zone. Here comes Wright. High off the glass, and in transition, they hit Soderling. Soderling's an outstanding sophomore. I think he's going to have a great high school career. He might even have a great season. He's been very impressive. Kind of wonder if he might be one of these players getting a little bit more playing time with some players out for the football season still.
Well, I think that's going to kind of gives Vanelli an opportunity to see what they're about. And also will give them some depth down the road too, because there might be injuries later on.
Dayak was strong on the puck for 200 feet. No matter where he went, he was able to make plays, and if it bounced off his stick, it seemed to come right back to him. Little spinorama move, gets a shot there, stopped by Glockner. We get the cover face-off, comes to his right. 1:02 remains in the second period.
The thing that is, some players just have the puck come to them more often than not. It's like it's stuck to their stick. They could do a spinorama, they could battle through it, and somehow it bounces to their stick, more so than others.
Nice forecheck here from Lagerbach. He gets the steal, and they've gained the zone. Not so fast on that St. Thomas breakout. Minnetonka manages to turn the table and get a little bit of pressure. Pops out to neutral zone. It's dumped right back in. A little bit too far for Donahue, and in front of us, it's Keelan, Keelan trying to find a breakout path. He leaves it for Henry. Henry ridden off the puck by Lagerbach. Nice physical play there. We got 2-2. Two players from both teams waiting for that puck to pop out.
One thing I've noticed, the puck is in St. Thomas academies and more often when Litke and Doctor are out there. It's almost like they have 5 forwards versus 3.
Yeah, and that's a great observation, and I think it makes sense. They come in deservedly very highly touted, and what a great place to build. Coach Goldsworthy said in our pregame, you build from the goal out. 1, 2, and 3. Glockner wears number 1. Litke and Doctor wear 3 and 2. And they're always, if push comes to shove and they put out their best guys, they're always going to have an advantage against anyone they play from the goal out with those 3 at a high school level this season.
That's a great perspective on it. I like it.
We're going to take a quick break. Last player we're going to mention before we go to break here from Minnetonka, Ryan McCartan graduated there. I've never seen the show. He played Diggy on Liv and Maddie, graduate of Minnetonka. John Conley here with Tim Hannes. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. Great between period content. Josh Litke and Teddy Lagerbach, both interviewed by Grant Doctor, and Rob Christie, interviewed by St. Thomas basketball player Thomas Odegaard. We'll be right back.
We're here live at Maynard's on Lake Minnetonka. I'm your host, Grant Doctor, and we're here with Minnetonka's defense all-star, Josh Litke, number 3. So we're going to start out, get to know him a little bit. He's kind of a cool guy, so everyone wants to know him. We're going to start out with 2 lies and a truth. Josh, try to stump me.
All right. First thing here is I'm related to Jared Spurgeon, actually, which is he's a great guy. So
I can see the resemblance.
Yeah. Another thing is that I vacationed at Jamaica with my family. It was a fun time. And then the third thing would have to be that I've never broke a bone in my body. Always healthy. So
we have some traffic coming through, but we're going to get back to that question after break.
We've been here since 1998. Excelsior has helped Maynard's in a lot of different ways in our growth and just our ability to maintain, you know, a consistent level of business. Our staff kind of sets the tone right when you walk in the door that people are here to have fun. We try to provide just kind of a casual atmosphere for people to be with friends, be with family, and just enjoy themselves. A lot of people seek out the lake and the restaurant. A lot of our regular customers love to bring all their out-of-town friends here. You know, friends from out of town, we got to take them to Maynard. Any college kid that comes back, this is sometimes they always stop here before they even make it back to their house. They know they're going to get a good meal at a good price and good service, and people make memories here. It's been a positive experience for my family and I, and one we look to continue on.
All right, just go ahead. So Josh, what's your favorite spot to vacation?
I'd have to say my favorite place to vacation is probably the Boundary Waters. Yeah, just the fishing there is great. It's a fun spot.
Big outdoors guy?
Huge outdoors guy, so
love it.
Love it, yeah.
It's good stuff. So Josh, we know you're kind of a music fanatic here. We know you like a lot of good new music, but if you gotta go, what's your favorite type of music you listen to?
I'd have to say I'm a huge Miley Cyrus fan. If I had to pick a favorite song, I'd say The Climb. Super motivational song, gets me going. Great tune.
I actually don't know that song. Could you maybe like show us how that goes a little bit, or give us a little preview?
I totally would, but my throat's a little sore today, so maybe I can show you after.
We can get some water for you from somewhere. But, so Josh, we're going on to the most important question here, I think. What is your celebrity crush?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Phyllis from The Office. She's just, she's a lovely lady, so yeah, that's my answer.
That's great. I mean, she's always on top of her work. She's just a great gal. I love it. And so, we know you're dating a girl from Tonka right now, so you can't say anything bad, and you gotta be honest here. What's the best thing about Tonka girls?
I think the best thing about Tonka girls is their humor. We've got a lot of funny girls at our school, so yeah, they're all great to hang out with. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So we're gonna go to break, and we'll be right back. So Josh, played in a lot of rinks over your career here. What's your favorite rink to play at?
There's a lot of good rinks in Minnesota, but I'm going to have to say Pagel. It's nice and cold and just a great environment to play in.
Yeah. Good student section?
Huge student section.
Huge student section?
Yeah.
Hope to be good this year too?
Yeah.
All right, Josh. So now that we're back from break, we got to get back to your 2 lies and a truth. So me knowing you a little personal level here, I don't think you're related to Jared Spurgeon, even though you look identical. Much identical. And I did know you have been to Jamaica before. And so I'm going to have to go with that's the truth.
Yep, that's the truth. I have been to Jamaica, so you got
right
me.
on, man.
Yeah, you got me.
All right, so that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in, and this has been Josh Lidke, Minnetonka's all-star defenseman.
Thanks for having me. Good job.
We're here live at
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America. So it's only fitting that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
This is Tommy Odegaard. I'm with Robert Christie. What are you, forward, defenseman?
Forward, center, left wing.
Center, left wing, St. Thomas Academy. We're over at Jack's Cafe, Minneapolis. We're on the Rainbow Trout Street. So we're going to get into it right away. We're going to play 2 lies and a truth. So you tell me 2 lies and a truth, and I decide which is which.
All right, so I've been in 2 accidents in under 24 hours. I have over a 35 on my ACT, and I can sing Ice Ice Baby.
Okay, I'm going to have to think about that one, and then I'll get back to you guys. So what's your favorite place to vacation?
My favorite place to vacation is San Francisco, Cali.
What do you like about it? You're a Cali guy?
Yeah, I'm a Cali guy.
You want to grow out your hair and skateboard?
Nah, I don't know about that. I want to learn how to surf, though. That'll be fun.
Oh, with the long hair, too, I assume. You want to get some long hair, Cali hair?
Yeah, probably. We'll see when the time comes.
Cali girls, pick up on them ever?
Not now, no.
What are you thinking about future vacation spot?
Future vacation, probably Barcelo.
Oh, okay.
In Mexico.
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
Go with a couple of the buddies.
Yeah, obviously.
So what's your favorite music? What's your favorite?
My favorite music, I like rap.
Okay.
I don't have like a favorite. I like Drake, Migos, Kodak Black.
So what's your favorite song at the moment then?
My favorite song at the moment is Nice for What.
Nice for What by Dre.
By Dre.
You know, I don't have my Apple Music account set up, so you might need to give me a little hymn to it, a little a couple lines or two? Like how does it go?
Like,
we're waiting.
come on, Christy. I mean, like, there's
just a couple.
I don't know. I can't say it off the top of my head now.
You don't know the song all of a sudden?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I tried to get you out of your comfort zone. What's your celebrity crush? Who is it?
Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez.
I actually went to a concert.
What age?
When I was a freshman in high school. Best concert of my life.
Concert. Are you sure? Concert?
Best concert of my life.
What do you like about her? Black hair?
Yeah, she's a good singer too.
Pretty girl?
She's pretty. Yeah.
So is that your type of girl? Like black hair girls are your favorite?
I mean, I don't have like a type, I guess.
Okay. So, as we all know, St. Thomas Academy, school right next to it, visitation, all girls school. What's your favorite thing about Viz Girls? What are your thoughts on them?
My thoughts on them, they're like really nice girls. Like, they're fun to hang out with when we hang out with them.
Okay.
We have a good time.
This might be a little.
There's nothing bad about them.
Coming out of left field or something, but do you like older girls or younger girls or?
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay.
Probably older girls.
Older girls, yeah, for sure. We're gonna go to break.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. Welcome to Jack's Cafe. Since 1933, the Kozlak family. We welcome you this holiday season for a nice, cozy fireplace dinner. We look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, we're back from break. We're at the Jack's Cafe, Minneapolis. Tommy Odegaard and Robert Christie. We're on the Rainbow Trout stream, and we're gonna go back to the 2 Lies and the Truth. So what was it? First one, accident. Under 2 accidents in 24 hours. You can sing Ice Ice Baby.
Ice Ice Baby.
Ice Ice Baby.
Like.
Yeah.
And I have a 35 on my ACT.
Okay. I'm gonna say one of the lies is that you have a 35 in the ACT because I constantly get higher test scores than you in school. So I'd assume that, and if I don't have a 35 or above, I'm guessing you don't. Ice Ice Baby, I know that it used to be your favorite song. Yeah. But then also you're driving. I've rode with you a couple times and it's bumpy. So I'm gonna say the truth is 2 accidents.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's what I thought. So we're gonna wrap it up here at the Jack's Cafe. We're at the Rainbow Trout stream, and it was good. Thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
We're here live at Maynard's on Lake Minnetonka. We're with our guest star, Minnetonka unbelievable forward, number 34, Teddy Lagerbach. A lot of you might know him as the guy that skates to the blue line very, very slow. So Teddy, you mentioned you're a little nervous about this before the interview, so we'll try to keep it light.
Sounds good.
We're going to play a little game just to get you rolling. You're going to give us 2 lies and 1 truth.
All right. First is my grandma. It's a famous, great-grandma. It's a famous singer from Sweden. Second one would be like 4 concussions. Third one, I can speak fluent Swedish.
Okay. So we're going to go to break and we'll be right back and we'll answer that right after. So Teddy, where's your favorite spot to vacation?
I would say this year was spring break. Went to Arizona with the boys. Had a great time. Nice and warm. Loved it there.
It was nice.
Great time.
So Teddy, we know you like music. You like watching hockey edits with good music in it. So what's your favorite type of music?
Выйду в поле, длани раскину, забуду о горе, да выгну я спину.
Recently in the rap, but recently I've been really getting into Russian techno.
What is Russian techno?
I can't explain to you, but it's good stuff.
Good stuff?
Yeah. Gets me going.
So now, Teddy, we know you're a bit of a ladies' man. What's your celebrity crush?
There's many, but gotta go with Nina Agdal. She's pretty good looking.
I can see you guys together.
Me too.
I think she's realistic. I think she's in your ballpark.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's pretty good. So Teddy, we both go to Minnetonka. We both know some girls there. What's the best thing about Minnetonka girls?
I have to say they're also supportive. Come to our games. It's good stuff. Like, good looking. It's great.
We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. All right, Teddy, we know you've had a lot of games where you've scored multiple goals in different rinks. So we're going to go, what's your favorite rink and why?
Favorite rink? Go Pagel's the best. Love the whole rink.
Why?
Just Minnetonka. I like it.
You like it?
Nice and comfortable.
He likes it.
Yeah.
And so now we're back from break and we're going to talk about his two lies and a truth. So I know you a little bit too. I know, I'm just gonna go out right away. I think the truth is that your grandma's a famous singer from Sweden. Is that true?
That is true. My great grandma, famous singer from Sweden.
Can you give us a little example of how she's singing? Like maybe you got her voice a little bit.
I didn't get it.
Give him the last 20 seconds on Teddy Lagerbach's interview. I misjudged the time between periods. My apologies for that. So we will get back to the game action here. Third period, John Conley here with Tim Hannes. Minnetonka leads 3-1. Now, Tim, last period, we really both felt that St. Thomas made some adjustments and talked some things up in the locker room and had a much better period. What can you do? Can you go to the well one more time, and do you think they'll be able to maybe get the next goal and make this one a little closer?
Well, I think definitely important for them to get off to a good start like they did in the second period. They were really engaged with their play, had some purpose, some body checks, and then they got possession of the puck, and the play was actually going both directions in that second period, where in the first it was
really
looking to our left.
Yeah, so, you know, when you're down 2 goals, you're going to need some good goaltending. They've got Muzzy Donahue. He's certainly capable of delivering that. You're going to need, I think, to come back, you're going to need someone who steps up and is what everyone would agree is the best player on the ice. So, you know, we'll see if one of these players on Minnetonka, on St. Thomas, like a Christie or O'Neill, can really just stand up and really assert themselves. And then you need a bounce, a little puck luck maybe. So they're not down and out of it yet. They're down 3-1 with a full period left to go. And now they have the zone, and they're working to set up some type of pressure.
Well, they're looking to come out of this, lose a period, tie a period, and then win a period.
Very good point. So kept in at the left side over there by O'Neill. He dumps it back down to the end line, and they're forcing James Miller behind to work the full 200 feet. This pass from Lagerbach tips out to the neutral zone, gathered up by McLean Beaudet. He dumps this one in, and it's a breakout opportunity now for Hunter Newhouse. Newhouse is the centerman. He's out there with Bayless and Lagerbach, the top 2 returning scorers for the Skippers. Beaudet's going to get another chance to show us what he can do, and it's a short breakout pass to O'Neill, who works right in front of us, gets to the blue line where he stood up very nicely by Zitzloff. Pass from Killian works over in our direction, and he's unable to get this one past a forechecking Liam Worms. Worms very, very active over here, keeping the play alive, and it's a nice snapshot from the point from Dylan Zitzloff that hit defender and gets knocked down. This one goes just wide. Big shot. That's A.J. Kittleson. Constant pressure this shift, Tim. It's been an impressive forecheck from the Skippers thus far.
Well, this third line has been very effective tonight. You can see a nice little play there by Lacombe to Kittleson. That play has happened quite a few times where the Skippers have had the puck either to the sideboards or down low, and they have done a nice job finding F3 in the slot. I think the first goal from Hendrickson to Mack, and Mack scored it. That's how they scored there. And then on the second goal, the same scenario happened. where Kittleson passed it out to Lacombe. And that's play just right there was the same thing, but it was this time it was Lacombe to Kittleson. So this third line has played really well for the Skippers.
I think it's interesting you mentioned how they're firing that pass into that slot area. I'd even add that they're firing it with a lot of pace, so they're expecting someone to be there in a position to maybe do something with it. And credit Goldsworthy, it's his first game of his second season coaching this group. And you're a past high school coach. Coaches talk about trying to put a system in so when players are coming up from the junior varsity, year to year, it's not a big question as to what you guys are doing. And here he's integrating some new players to varsity. And they're clearly trying to get that quick pass from the sidewall into that slot area. And it's working because somebody knows where to go.
Well, it's repetitions, right, of last season and then this summer, and establishing kind of a system, and it seems like the Skippers have really picked up on it really well.
Nice play down here to a sneaky Doctor. Doctor's normally a defenseman. He's gotten all the way down below the dots, and he got a little chance there to show us what he can do down right next to the goal. 13:09 remains. Both teams trying to complete a line change. Doctor, his pass out in front of the benches is gathered up by Newhouse. Newhouse over to Bayless. Bayless enters the zone, and he's got Newhouse streaking toward the net. Gets ridden off the puck over to the corner. Eventually, it's turned over to O'Neill. Nice rink-wide pass. He hits Soderling. Soderling chips this one down to the end wall, and it's an opportunity now for Miller. A lot of pace end-to-end this shift. It's funny, sometimes we'll get a team stuck in their zone for an entire shift and come right back, and it's like back and forth, and this has been one of those end-to-end shifts.
Well, the defensemen are doing a nice job of getting the puck up the ice. They're making good decisions with the puck as they break it out. So both teams are coming out of their zone clean, but what they're both doing too is they're having F3 high to minimize the odd man rush. So we're not getting any 2-on-1s, but we're getting a flow of maybe some 2-on-2s or 3-on-3s. But both teams are doing a good job breaking the puck out, which then gives them the momentum to get into the other zone.
Kittleson in the face-off circle with Dayak. It's eventually controlled by Minnetonka, and they've worked on setting up their forecheck, working around the perimeter. This is Worms. This is that line that you mentioned has been playing very, very well together. Worms, Lacombe, and Kittleson. Kittleson transfers in. Lacombe and Worms didn't get to play much varsity last year, just 2 games between them.
And AJ is one of those players, too, like Griffin Streeter, that grew up in Minnetonka and played youth hockey in Minnetonka. And then when he got to high school, he decided to forego his Bantam second-year season and go and play at Holy Family. And then this year, for whatever reason, who knows, it was just felt like it was a good fit to come to Minnetonka and play. And so here he is. I think the family did make a move that got him into the district, because I think they were outside the district once they moved to Holy Family, and then they came back into Tonka. And it's a good fit for him, I think, and it's great to have him here. Gives Tonka some depth.
So 55 games played at the varsity level for Holy Family. Holy Family was ahead 1-0 today over Edina before succumbing 5-1 the final from Plymouth. And after 2 periods, it's Maple Grove 2-1. By now, they're into the 3rd period with Wayzata, but Maple Grove was ahead 2-1 over Wayzata, and some other high school games going on in Plymouth today. Shot in this steered aside by Donahue. Chance to break out here for St. Thomas. They lofted. It's going to be Williams that gets there, takes a big clap bomber, climbs up over Glockner, and it was Doctor that came in there and knocked that one away. Very nice play there to relieve the pressure. Newhouse, he's a sophomore. He's been very impressive. Takes a shot. This one goes just wide, but it's onto the stick of Bayless. Bayless down to Newsome. Newsome gets pushed off the puck and bounces right back up, gets it to a stick. Here comes Bodette. Bodette works around much smaller Bayless. Nice body check there. I mentioned it earlier. He's giving up about 6 inches and at least 40 pounds to Bodette, but not afraid to play the body. O'Neill gains the red line, dumps this one down. It's going to be Kroll that gets there first, and I have a feeling if I announce some more Minnetonka games this year, I'll get to know Miller and Kroll's names very, very well. Outstanding players, both on the varsity and lesser roles last year. Lagerbach denied. Donahue came out to challenge the shooter, and what a great play there by Muzzy Donahue. Looks well when it works, but Tim, those are the kind when you stray that far from the goal line. When it doesn't work, it doesn't look so good.
He came all the way out to the hash marks there and made that save. He just sensed that Lagerbäck was going to shoot the puck, and generally that's what a goalie does. They come out when they feel and they read that. It was a great save by Donahue there. But what I liked about that shift there from Bayless, Newhouse, and Lagerbäck was the puck movement. They kept putting it into areas that their teammate would retrieve it, maybe a soft area, maybe a kind of a lead them into an area, kind of give and goes. They were cycling the puck really well. It was good to see the puck movement out of that line.
Donahue's a little guy compared to what an NHL goalie is.
Hi, this is Dan Germanson from Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer and would love to have you be a part of 2019. Check out MinnesotaHockeyCamps.com for more information.
How cool is it, Tim, the advertiser, Minnesota Hockey Camps, the same hockey camp I attended in 1980, still going strong after almost 40 years. I guess I didn't know it at the time. We were there the first year. It was started by Herb Brooks with a guy named Chuck Grillo. They called him Gringo. And Gringo's still involved in the camp and has sold it to his son who manages it. And Minnesota Hockey Camps is same hockey camp I went to back all those years ago.
What a great place to go up in Nisswa there. I think many of the kids our age and have gone there and spent the nights there, the weeks, hanging with just buddies, kids, get to know new kids from all over the country. But there definitely is some purpose up there in terms of they want to develop hockey players. And then they've got some, high-end players too, pros, college players, prospects that they work with. And so it's from, squirts, mites, all the way up to the professional level.
Hallam is just playing with a lot of speed, and we mentioned earlier we saw that sense of urgency from St. Thomas. I'm going to point out, I think Christie's been a little quiet so far. I'm going to be expecting Christie. Don't be surprised if he makes the goal to make this one 3-2. This is a nice pass over to Bamer. Bamer tries to get his pass through, but it's broken up. Liam Worms got right into that passing lane. On retreat, here's Litke. Litke rings the boards. This one's all the way out to the neutral zone. Worms gets knocked off the puck, and it's a dump and tag situation. On retreat, here comes Litke, gets another chance to break it out. This time he counters over in our direction. Nice play because he found Lacombe right onto the stick. Beautiful play, nice counter move. They teach you when you're a kid, the first time one gets picked off, not to pass up the middle. But Tim, I'm pretty impressed. Litke seemed to know that far side was going to be jammed. He tried it the first time this shift, it didn't get through. Then that counter move, really a nice diagonal pass, and arrived right on the tape of Lacombe.
Well, what he did is before he got to the net and went around the net, he was taking pictures and looking up the ice to find out where his receivers are. In a sense, he was the quarterback looking to find passes, right? So as he came around the net and got to the other side, he kind of had an idea of what were his options. So he's looking up the strong side, and then those weren't open, option A and B. Then he looked up.
This one's into the back of the net. Streeter from Hendrickson. There was a puck that was a clearing attempt from St. Thomas, didn't find its way out. It took a bounce onto the stick. Streeter from Hendrickson makes this one 4-1. We'll listen to the public address and see if there was a secondary assist. They line up at the center ice faceoff. Dayak in the faceoff circle for St. Thomas, and that one might be a dagger. We're less than 7 minutes to go. It's now a 3-goal margin. St. Thomas has had trouble consistently getting scoring chances today, and that might be a little bit too much.
Assisted
So it is 8 from 7. Streeter from Hendrickson. Tim, it's interesting. You know, these guys are great hockey players. I don't know if I should be critiquing it, but I kind of was looking for Hendrickson to go to net with that when the puck popped out off the boards onto his stick, and he had a chance to go cut toward the net. He actually played away from the goal with that pass to Streeter. Goaltender was in a pretty good position there, but it slid through just slightly. Anyway, very unselfish play by Mason Hendrickson. He gets an assist on the goal, and I believe that's his second of the day.
What was nice about it is he had some patience when he got the puck. He didn't just look at one option. Shooting was probably his first option, but he also had his head up and was able to find Streeter there.
Lagerbach plays it over to Newhouse, and the give back is intercepted out to the neutral zone. This one's grabbed by Williams. He plays it over in the direction of Christie, and Glockner's the one that ends up breaking up that play. 5 minutes to go in this game. It's 4-1. St. Thomas trails Minnetonka. This is the first day of the season for both teams here at the opener. Lagerbach, touch pass, doesn't quite clear the zone. It's kept in at the blue line momentarily by Hallam, but eventually has to break that out to the neutral zone. Dumped in by Henry. Glockner plays this one over in the direction of Zitzloff. Runs into some static. Doesn't quite clear the zone. Third time's a charm. This one comes out to Lagerbach. He tips this one down, but Killian gets there first. Killian working a battle along Simpson. And Tim, I can always tell the tone of a shift depending on is there any sustained possession.
The Minnesota Blizzard offer fall midget teams playing at the highest level for 15s, 16U, and 18U. For more information, please visit our website.
On that shift, it was just kind of like ping pong. It was just going back and forth.
That's what I was.
No one was, you know, kind of taking control of the game and possessing the puck and trying to do something a little more dynamic with it instead of being kind of vanilla and basic.
That's what I'm getting at as far as the announcing. When you have very little possession time and it just goes from person to person to person, from light to dark and back, it's a lot different than when someone can string together a couple passes, and it's much easier to try to announce what is going on. On retreat here for St. Thomas, Shimmick rings the boards looking for Soderling. Soderling's been a very impressive player today. I've been very impressed by Soderling throughout. He's looked good in an effort even though they trail thus far. Lidke, D-to-D over to Doctor. Doctor ringing the boards, tries to get this one up through Lacombe. Kept in at the point very nicely. Pinching in is O'Neill. O'Neill's the kind of guy, he likes to get ahead of steam, and if you can find him some room, I wouldn't be surprised if as the season goes on, they might look at sending him maybe weak side. Another high school player, Jet Jungles, kind of skates away from the play instead of toward it, and I'd love to get the puck. Oh, nice shot there and a huge save by Donahue. Sneaking into the play there was Litke. He gets another chance, and this one's down in the slot. Good rebound control there by the defenseman to knock this one away. But what I was thinking, Tim, is, you know, when you have a player with those flat-out wheels like you see with O'Neill, and you don't let them get away from the play, it's hard to get them the room they need to operate, and I'd like to see them kind of send him weak side a little bit.
Well, some players kind of get lost in the play, and they sneak out. And then they, next thing you know, extend a breakaway to him or maybe a pass to him, and it becomes a 2-on-1. And that's where he might benefit moving forward, is being kind of a maybe a looser winger, kind of less responsibilities on the defensive end. Let his center play 200 feet, and he's kind of extending the play behind the defenseman. Patrick Kane is really good at that. He's the type of player who gets lost in the game. You kind of lose where he is, and next thing you know, he has the puck, and he's flying down the ice on a 2-on-1 or a breakaway.
He doesn't come back hard. I was at the Dallas game when I still lived in Dallas, and had a real good vantage point to watch the Blackhawks play the Stars. And I don't follow the NHL as closely as a lot of people. I've always been interested in younger levels of hockey. And I said, well, let me see what the big deal is with this Kane. And I felt like I was watching my son. You know, he's a little late getting back. You know, you have coaches back, check, back, check. Kane ain't back checking. And what he's doing is he's trying to create layers where when the puck turns over and there is a transition pass and it pops up ice, he doesn't want to be on top of everybody. He wants a little bit of room, and that's how they get so much going in transition. You can do that if you put up points, and if you're not going to, I think a lot of coaches just don't have the patience. But anyway, just an observation that I had. I think there's a big hit there. Laying the hurt was Shimmick, but they kind of lost track of the puck, and it was Newhouse on a semi-breakaway.
Well, the thing is, if you put points on the board, they will find a spot for you. So, and if you're kind of floating out like that a little bit and putting up numbers and winning games, usually the coach gives you a little leeway on that. It was interesting today. I was listening to one of the NHL games. It was Philadelphia, and they were playing the Rangers, and they had an interview with Claude Giroux. And they moved him from center to wing to give him less responsibilities and kind of open up his game. And he's benefited from that.
St. Louis, Kane, Ovechkin, a lot of these big goal scorers don't play center for the very reasons you mentioned. We've got a little bit more than 1 minute to go. Want to let you know we've got a post-game show coming up. When this final horn goes, it's going to be a Minnetonka win. We'll take about a 2-minute break. Going to ask Tim Hannes to gather his thoughts and come back with the final word. So don't go anywhere. Going to run a couple ads for 2 minutes while we pull together some final thoughts, and then we'll have former coach of Minnetonka talking about how this rendition of the Skippers did, and also give us his thoughts on the Cadets as well. 45 seconds remains in this one. It's a breakout pass to the neutral zone. Next one is, oh, it does connect. I thought it wasn't going to make it there to Soderling, and eventually the slow roller got to him. Waiting for some line mates is Simpson. Simpson's looking for a little bit of help here, and they get the puck down to the end line but lose possession. Breakout opportunity for Soderling. Stretch pass doesn't, or he lofts it out to the neutral zone, lobs it out, and manages to complete a line change. Minnetonka's working the other direction now. Kept in at the blue line, however, by Henry. 15 seconds to go. One last shot. Oh, it looked like it was going to hit escape, wouldn't go in, kind of like the other one. 8 seconds to go, and that's going to just about do it, folks. This one's a slow roller the length of the ice. They wave off icing. Folks, that's going to do it. It is Minnetonka 4, an impressive way to start their season as they come back for the defense of their state championship. Don't go anywhere. 2 minutes. We'll be right back with our post-game show. Tim Hannes and John Conley here from Bloomington Ice Garden.
I know. You've thought about it. You've talked to some friends. You've even seen golf books like this, and you've said, I'd love to go take an Irish golf trip, but you've never gotten around to it. Or maybe you've been once and you'd like to go back. This is your opportunity. Just let me take care of the details. We'll go over summer 2019 and have a great time. Ireland is just a great place to visit. I've been there 5 times. I call it the 51st state. It's got a lot of things that are notable. Certainly the culture, the history, the scenery, and oh yeah, the golf. But what really separates it from other vacation destinations are the people. If you'd like to take an affordable 1-week trip, play some great golf, and really experience all that the Emerald Isle has to offer, just get in touch with me. We'll go through the planning stages together as the final details get nailed down. In summer 2019, it's your opportunity to take advantage of this very affordable, reasonable golf trip and play outstanding world-class golf and enjoy what I think is good of vacation places you'll find anywhere in the world. For more information, just go to my website, which is EdenHallCo.com, click on tours, and to be included in upcoming communication as the final details are nailed down, just send me an email, john@EdenHallCo.com.
Talk about Atlantis, how it's lost beneath the sea. And the grave of the
Hockey fans, I hope you've enjoyed today's game and you've enjoyed Eden Hall Productions' presentation. We're not done yet. 12 games coming up at Hockey for Life between Christmas and New Year's, the top high school Christmas event in the state of hockey this winter. It's a wonderful opportunity for advertisers to reach a hockey-passionate and community-focused demographic. For more information, just check out my website. You can email me at john@EdenHallCo.com. Plenty of different packages available at all different price levels. Very, very affordable way to reach thousands of people. Collectively, the 16 Eden Hall Productions games in conjunction with Youth Hockey Hub will reach an audience of about 30,000 people.
And we're back with our post-game show. Minnetonka wins 4-1. Tim, if I understood that correctly, it was 40 saves for Donahue, 9 for Glockner. And if I do the math correctly, I think shots on goal were 44-10. So I think that's one of the stories of the game that I want to hear your thoughts. 44-10 shots on goal, 4-1 win. Clearly Minnetonka's day. Let's talk about St. Thomas for a minute.
Yeah, I thought they came out slow in the first period. I think that was the difference. They definitely did battle a little bit harder in the second and also in the third. Donahue was really, really good in net. I thought he played a very solid game. I was expecting to see Christie and O'Neill carry the load offensively, but it was really Soderling and Halem who were dynamic with their skating and aggressiveness and playmaking.
And they're just sophomores, so I think that's a great point. You know, we enter the season, and all 4 of the teams that are here for the opener, they have an idea what they have, but there are some question marks, whether it's depth or whether it's our kids going to be able to handle the varsity level period. And that's got to be very comforting for the Vanellis to look out and say, you know what, we've got a couple guys that might be sophomores, but they're going to have no problem at all playing this season for the St. Thomas Cadets varsity.
That's a great problem to have here, that those guys coming and showing that they can play at this level. But also they had a couple players that didn't play, and I think that's going to help O'Neill and Christie and also help with their depth.
So we mentioned in the pregame they've won 3 runner-ups at AA since they opted up from single A. And this team, there's enough there with what we saw on the ice today. Donahue was outstanding in goal. I think Atticus Kelly won a lot of postseason awards last year. So for him to come in, Donahue, he's a returning varsity goalie, but he didn't get to play much last year, and play as well as he did is another great sign. So I'm curious to see what we see tomorrow. St. Thomas will be playing Lakeville North. I think I got that right. Oh, they play Cloquet. They play Cloquet.
Yes, yep. Tonka plays Lakeville North.
Tonka plays Lakeville North. So let's talk about the winners. What were the keys to victory for the Skippers?
Well, I thought they had a great start, and they kept that pace for the whole game. I thought all the kids played really hard and aggressive. You really couldn't tell the difference between their first line, second line, and third line. They all were really effective out there, and that's a good thing if you're Coach Goldsworthy. I definitely think on the defense, though, Doctor and Litke really showed off their skills tonight.
They did, and you know, we knew they were going to be great. They were great last year, and they were a big part of last year's state championship team. But you know, I was very impressed by what we saw as well with defenders Kroll and Miller was the other one that came out. A couple, a senior and a junior, and you know, this is a team. A very good start to the season for Minnetonka. You've got a lot returning off a state championship team, and I thought they integrated the 3 transfers at forwards very, very well. And not a surprise, they're going to be number 1 on a lot of people's lists as the top team in the state as we enter this upcoming high school season.
What was nice about it too is just the effort that they gave tonight. You'd think after winning a state championship that you'd be a little kind of, so to speak, hungover from that season. But I know Coach Kozer has talked a lot about that, is moving on and not talking about the past. And this is a different team. And I think they are creating their own identity early on in the season.
Great point. So he's Tim Hannes. I'm John Conley. We'll both be back here tomorrow. And at the end of tomorrow's Minnetonka game, we'll actually identify a list of kids that we give the opener all-tournament team to. So you gave us a couple nominations there both ways on both teams for some names that I wouldn't be surprised if they make that tomorrow. 4-1's the final score. Any final thoughts, Tim?
Well, I think Tonka has to come out with the same tempo, and St. Thomas Academy needs a better start.
That's it. Thanks for everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow. John Conley and Tim Hannes here from Bloomington Ice Garden.